Traps were deployed and poisons were put down in an attempt to put an end to what the family assumed was some sort of rodent-like infestation, and although it would be several years before the family managed to actually lay eyes on this weird entity, that assumption wasn't far wrong. The traps and poisons did nothing, and in fact they were discovered scattered across the room the following morning. The variation in noises began to intensify and escalated into physical phenomena, such as chairs being thrown around the house and a pan of water being whisked off the fire. Boards that had been put over the holes in the wall had been scratched at and torn apart. The entity began imitating the noises of animals and had taken to startling the family by shrieking loudly during the night. And by the end of 1932, it had begun to speak. Reports claim that this entity could speak in several different languages, including English, Spanish, French, German, Yiddish, Flemish, and Hebrew. It would sing hymns and songs and fully interact with the family. It would call them by their Christian names, and at one stage the entity told Mr. Irving that it had overheard two workmen talking and that they had said Sir Lindsay was a hot tip for the upcoming Grand National. The Irvings christened the entity Jack, but after several months the entity decided it didn't like the name Jack and insisted on being called GEF, which it spelled out as GEF. Jeff claimed that it had understood what people were saying for a long time, but had only learned to speak recently because Mr. Irving had inadvertently taught him during those initial months of utter disbelief when he was experimenting with making sounds that Jeff would then mimic, and also from hiding in the corners of the windows of the local school and listening to the pupils receiving their lessons. Jeff told the Irvings that he was born in India and he knew Hindu magic. They asked him what he eats, and he replied, air. This shapeless being was intent on befriending this family, even if they didn't quite share the same desire. These auditory interactions continued for some time, and then they finally caught sight of Jeff.